my name is Lainey, and I did my theorist presentation on Miriam Polster, so we will start with that now. So for Miriam's early life, she was born on July 7th, 1924, to Aaron and Minnie Friedman, who was a Jewish family in Cleveland, Ohio. She did have an older brother who was 5 years older than her, and his name was Larry. Her parents were consistently described as being very loving and very supportive of Miriam's aspirations as a young child. So for her career, she was very passionate about music. She attended the Miami University, and she did get a bachelor's in music. She met her husband Irving in 1949, and they were married in that following October. They did have 2 children together. They had Adam and Sarah, who did have quite a bit of health problems. Adam, the son, he had cerebral palsy, and then Sarah, who passed away from colon cancer in July 2001. So shortly before Miriam passed away as well. It was the same year, which was kind of interesting to me. That is very rough for a parent. I can only imagine having to bury a child. So Miriam and her husband Irving, they were among founding faculty members of the Gestalt Institute of Cleveland. Irving's involvement in the workshop that trained individuals in new Gestalt therapeutic techniques, that piqued Miriam's interest in psychology. So she decided that she was going to go back to school, and she received her doctorate in clinical psychology from Case Western Reserve University in 1967. So a little bit about Gestalt therapy. It is an experimental and humanistic approach that is geared towards developing self-knowledge and acceptance and growth. One of the aspects of the therapy is to establish contact with the environment and self through our sensory organs. So that is essential for healthy development through this theory. Polster and her husband are responsible for furthering the development of the concept contract boundaries. So the boundaries function to help people connect to their environment and withdraw from it when needed. So a disturbance of these boundaries can result in confluence, isolation, retroflexion, introjection, projection, and deflection. So Miriam did co-author 2 different novels. The first one was Gestalt Therapy Integrated, Contours of Theory and Practice. It was the first novel written by Irving and Miriam, and they wanted the book to serve as an extensive overview of Gestalt theory and the therapeutic techniques within the theory. Miriam did not contribute a large part of her own theories compared to her husband Irving, but she did aid him in discussion a lot. The second co-authored book was The Radical Center, The Heart of Gestalt Therapy, and it's a collection of Miriam and Irving's selected writings that covers the history of psychotherapy, touching on theoretical and practical applications. The novel describes the principles of Gestalt therapy and illustrates the application and transformation of theories. They then discuss the role and implications of the community on the individual. So this book, Eve's Daughters, The Forbidden Heroism of Women, is a novel that Miriam wrote all by herself. It emphasizes women's abilities to be heroes in a world that views heroism as a male-dominated role. The novel exemplifies the discrepancies of the male and female gender through the story of Eve. This story also provides lessons that are used today. For example, the concept of consequences following our actions. One thing that did stand out to me about this book was that I feel like Miriam was a little bit ahead of her time. You know, this day and age, feminism has kind of taken off since the early 2000s. And so for her to write a story that talks about like how women can be heroes in a world and a society that views that as only male dominated just seems so awesome to me. I mean, the fact that she was thinking of this, talking about this back then, and this is still a topic today that is still being talked about and still trying to break barriers down for women. So I think that's awesome. And then a little bit about her legacy. Miriam and her husband were known as some of the most influential Gestalt therapists. They also founded this Gestalt training center in San Diego, California. And Miriam did pass away December 19th in 2001 at the age of 77 after a relapse of endometrial cancer.